Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The top achievement in life is to fulfill all of our desires perfectly and completely, and that can only be done when we connect with the Supreme Lord in devotion. So when we are connected with God, all our desires become fulfilled, we become completely happy, we develop full knowledge. And how do we know we achieve it? How do you know when you're satisfied from when you're eating, but at a certain point you become satisfied, you say, I am satisfied, I am finished eating. It's an experience. Without believing in God, you cannot know God. So believing in God helps you to follow a particular series of activities which helps you to know God. So just to believe is not enough. You have to believe and then follow the instructions of God, and then you can know God. The soul has an innate certain quality relationship. In other words, it's fixed. So when you return to the spiritual world, you will again take up that same position as you left. But because in the spiritual world things are unlimited, one can change their position in order to serve Krishna in different ways. But one will always be most satisfied in their natural position. Love means to please the object of the person you're trying to love. But in this world, people develop relationships in order to please themselves. So, and when the relationships don't work, they break. But real love doesn't break because it's based on pleasing the other person. Real love is selfless. Because one becomes satisfied in the mood of loving and not in the mood of getting. So in this world, you rarely find that. So most of the relationships in this world are based on selfishness, but they call it love. That is a question that's been asked so many times. Well, that's one question that is very hard to understand, but we can answer it through philosophical understanding that God is fully independent, Krishna is fully independent, and we, because we are part of God, we also have an element of independence in our natural constitution. In other words, we also have independence. And so if we misuse our independence and want to come to this material world to enjoy separate from God, we can do that. And therefore people do that. The living entity comes to the material world just to be separate from God. We try to experience what it's like in this material world. The reason why it's hard for them to follow is because of lack of training in early life. Because we don't have that training with the parents and the society does not support that, therefore we're accustomed to loose types of relationships. Therefore, when we come into Krishna consciousness, it becomes a little more difficult to come up to the standard. But with good association and with following our rules and regulations, chanting regularly, we can develop the strength to do that. And then we get the higher taste. We get a higher taste. Spiritual happiness is higher than any material happiness. Read Srila Prabhupada's books as much as you can. Try to understand what is being said and learn how to take that knowledge and live it. It's most important to have a working knowledge of the philosophy, not a theoretical knowledge. That's the beginning, but to be able to take it and live it develops what is called transcendental consciousness. Because of impressions from previous experiences. We've had that experience before, and if it's connected with an emotion makes the experience stronger. So sometimes things come into our mind because we've had that experience in an emotional way previously, either in this life or in past lives. The scriptures say woman is like fire and man is like butter. So if the butter gets near the fire, what happens? So there it's understood, yes, a woman can give spiritual strength to a man in Krishna consciousness, or she can also make his life very difficult. So she has great power, influence. When they're connected together, then, yeah. So if both are following Krishna consciousness nicely, then they each support each other. Then they both go up. Mm-hmm. You can't. You can't do it if you're unhappy, because people will see what you exhibit more than what you say. If you're telling everyone to be happy and you're not happy, it's like saying, do this, but do what I say, but don't do what I do. But therefore one should practice Krishna consciousness properly, and then they will be able to experience happiness. If we're practicing it in the wrong mindset or in the wrong way, we may not get the happiness that is available. We won't get the happiness. So, Krishna consciousness is happy life, because it's based on the soul and not on the body and mind. In many ways. He can send it through the spiritual master. He can send it directly within our heart. He can send it through the external environment by creating situations to help us learn things. He does it in so many ways. God is all-knowing, and he knows how to reach a person in different ways, according to how best they can understand things. The best way is to hear from his representative, the spiritual master. That is the easiest and most direct way. Because you can't. You're not God. You can't imitate something you're not. It's like, if you don't go training in school and then you try to imitate a professor, you look like everyone will laugh at you. You don't have the qualifications, nor can you get the qualifications to be God. God is God, and the living being is the servant of God, a part of God. You can't be something you're not. You can enjoy with Krishna, but you can't enjoy in the position of Krishna. By serving the devotees who are serving the Lord, we can get over our false ego. When we false ego means we have an identity that's not our real identity. Our real identity is we are servant of the Lord, and we are servant of the Lord's devotees. So if we serve the Lord's devotees nicely, we get knowledge, and we get understanding of our own position. So it's all based on service. Their spiritual life begins. He becomes happy instantly. Best charity for all living beings is knowledge of one's relationship with God. So giving in charity means to give knowledge to other people about their relationship with Krishna. That's the best charity. It's a process. Just like some people enter into the university, but then they drop out because they can't fulfill the requirements to become educated. So in the same way, sometimes people take up different training processes in different ways, but if they don't follow, they fall away. So the process is there, is to chant the holy names of the Lord, associate with devotees, read the books given to us by Srila Prabhupada, and engage in some practical service. So if we do that, and we have some understanding of why we're doing it, not just doing it, we should know why we're doing it. Why we're doing it is because it brings us closer and closer to self-realization, to transcendental happiness. Sometimes people come for the wrong reasons and then they go away. Means that the soul exists in the body on the heart, in the heart region. Doesn't mean in the heart, it means on top of the heart. The heart is a seat, just like I'm sitting on this chair, so the soul is sitting on the heart. That's where the soul is existing. And Paramatma, the Supreme Soul, is right next to him. So in every body there's the soul, two souls. You, the individual soul, and God, the Supreme Soul. And it's both in the area of the heart. Not inside the heart, on the heart. It's different. That's it?
That's it.
They were somewhat simple questions.